Sometimes the most beautiful dreams become the most expensive nightmares. The message hit my phone like a bullet to the chest. Michael, I never loved you. Thanks for the money, stupid Farang. My hands shook as I read those words over and over. Everything I believed about Siri was a lie. But here's the thing about getting your heart ripped out. It teaches you lessons no business school ever could, to understand how a smart guy like me walked straight into paradise and came out broke. And broken? We need to rewind 3 months. Back to when I thought Phuket would save my soul. My name is Michael Thompson, and at 48 I was living the American dream on paper. 20 years building my construction company in Phoenix. Nice house, fat bank account, respect in my community. But my wife Sarah had other plans, specifically plans that involved her personal trainer and half my assets. The divorce hit me like a wrecking ball. Not just the money, but the betrayal. 20 years of marriage, and she threw it away for some muscled-up kid with tribal tattoos. You need to get away, Mike, my buddy Jake told me over beers. Thailand's perfect for guys like us, cheap, beautiful, and the women actually appreciate a good man. Thailand. The word rolled around my head for weeks. I'd seen the photos. Crystal blue waters, golden temples, smiling faces. Maybe paradise was exactly what my broken heart needed. But here's what they don't tell you about paradise. Sometimes the most beautiful traps are the ones you walk into, with your eyes wide open. Because 3 months ago I stepped off that plane in Phuket, thinking I was escaping my problems. Instead, I was walking straight into the most expensive lesson of my life. The humidity hit me first, then the chaos. Phuket International Airport buzzed with tourists dragging suitcases and taxi drivers shouting in broken English. But something about the warm air and exotic smells made my shoulders relax for the first time in months. I'd booked a small hotel near Kata Beach. Nothing fancy, just clean and quiet. The travel agent promised it was perfect for gentlemen seeking authentic Thai experiences. Looking back, I should have asked what that meant. The first week, I played it safe. Beach walks at sunrise, temple visits, street food that made my mouth burn and my heart happy. Slowly, the knot in my chest started loosening. Maybe Jake was right. Maybe this was exactly what I needed. Then came that Friday afternoon that changed everything. I was walking back from the big Buddha temple when the rain started. Not gentle drops, but a wall of water that soaked me in seconds. Ducking under the nearest awning, I found myself outside a small spa called Healing Hands. Through the rain-streaked window, I saw her. Siri looked nothing like the bar girls Jake had described. No heavy makeup or revealing clothes, just a simple white uniform and the gentlest smile I'd ever seen. When she noticed me standing in the rain, she opened the door. "You look very wet," she said, her English soft but clear. "Maybe you like traditional Thai massage? Very good for tired body?" There was something different about her. Professional, kind, maybe even a little shy. After weeks of hotel staff trying to sell me everything from elephant rides to special massages, here was someone who seemed genuine. 1 hour, I nodded, following her inside. The spa was small but spotless. Siri led me to a quiet room where soft music played and incense burned. As her skilled hands worked out months of stress from my shoulders, I felt something I'd forgotten existed: peace. "You carry much tension," she said quietly as she worked. "Heart problems, yes, not medical, emotional. I don't know why, but something about her gentle voice made me open up. Before I knew it, I was telling this stranger about Sarah, about the divorce, about feeling lost in my own life. Siri listened without judgment, her hands never stopping their healing work. "Pain is like muscle knot," she said finally. "Must be gentle to release. Force only make worse." When the massage ended, she brought me green tea and sat across from me with respectful distance. "I work here 2 years," she shared. "Before this, I teach children in my village near Chiang Mai. But school close, no money. I come Phuket to help family." She showed me a photo on her phone, a small girl in a school uniform, maybe 8 years old. "My daughter Nina, she stay with grandmother while I work. I save money, maybe open small school someday." Something about her simple dreams touched me. Here was a woman working hard, sacrificing for her family, holding on to hope. So different from Sarah, who threw away everything we built for a few thrills. "You different from other customer," Siri said, as I prepared to leave. "Most Farang come here, want party, want fun. You have sad eyes, but good heart." Walking back to my hotel that evening, I felt lighter than I had in months. The Phuket streets seemed brighter. The food smelled better. Even the tourist crowds didn't bother me. I had no idea that feeling of lightness was exactly what Siri was counting on. Because the best traps don't feel like traps at all. They feel like coming home. I found myself returning to healing hands every few days, not just for massages, but for those quiet conversations with Siri that somehow made everything else make sense. She never pushed for anything extra, never suggested expensive treatments or asked for tips beyond what was normal. Instead, she shared pieces of her life like small gifts. Stories about growing up poor in northern Thailand, about her daughter's love for drawing, about the small temple where she prayed for her family's health. "You seem lonely," she observed one afternoon as rain drummed on the spa's tin roof. "Big house in America, but empty heart, yes?" The way she said it, not prying, just understanding, made me want to tell her everything. About the silent dinners with Sarah toward the end, about rattling around my empty house after she left, about feeling like I'd failed at the one thing that mattered most. Siri listened with her whole attention, occasionally asking gentle questions. In Thailand, we say heart like garden, need care, need time to grow again after storm. One evening, she mentioned her day off was coming up. "Maybe you like see real Phuket temple. Not tourist place, Mum, where local people go pray, only if you want, no pressure." I heard a voice in my head, probably Jake's, warning me to be careful. But Siri had been nothing but respectful, professional. She never even touched me inappropriately. During massages, never hinted at anything beyond friendship. "I'd like that," I said before I could overthink it. Her smile lit up the whole room. "Tomorrow then, I show you Thailand with Thai heart." That night, lying in my hotel bed listening to the ocean waves, I felt something I hadn't felt since before. My marriage started falling apart, anticipation for tomorrow, but sometimes the most dangerous steps are the ones that feel most natural, and sometimes the person leading you toward the cliff is the same one holding your hand. The temple Siri took me to wasn't in any guidebook. Hidden up a winding mountain road, its golden spires caught the morning light like jewels. Old women in white sat quietly praying while monks in orange robes chanted softly. Siri showed me how to light incense properly, how to fold my hands in respect, how to make offerings of lotus flowers. Her fingers guided mine gently, teaching me the way a patient teacher might help a child. "Each flower is like wish for good things," she explained. "When we give beautiful things to Buddha, we make our hearts beautiful too." Watching her pray, eyes closed in peaceful meditation, I saw a different side of Siri. In her simple blue dress, kneeling before the golden Buddha, she looked like she belonged in this sacred place, like she was part of something ancient and real. Afterward, she insisted on buying us lunch from a roadside stall, simple noodle soup that tasted better than any expensive restaurant meal I'd had in Phoenix. "Today I am guide," she said when I tried to pay. "My treat for good friend." Friend. The word settled into my chest like warmth. When was the last time Sarah had called me her friend? Days turned into weeks. I extended my hotel stay, telling myself I needed more time to explore Phuket. But really, I was exploring this new feeling of being appreciated for who I was, not what I could provide. Siri never asked about my money or pushed for expensive gifts. Instead, she shared simple things, homemade Thai sweets, stories about her childhood, pictures of Nina's latest drawings sent from Grandma's village. But small clouds started gathering on the horizon of my perfect paradise. Sometimes Siri's phone would buzz during our conversations, and her face would change for just a second before she turned it off. Once I thought I saw her getting into an expensive-looking car late at night, but when I mentioned it the next day, she looked confused. "Must be different, lady," she said with a small laugh. Many Thai women look same to Farang eyes. I felt bad for doubting her. After all, hadn't she proven herself different from the beginning? Then came the first request. "Michael," she said quietly one evening as we walked along Kata Beach, "I have small problem. Nina need new school uniform for special program. Very expensive, but good opportunity for her future. She pulled out her phone, showing me a message in Thai script. I couldn't read it, but the numbers were clear. 15,000 baht. About $400. I save money slowly, she said, her voice hesitant. Maybe in 2 months I have enough, but programs start next week. I just worry Nina miss chance. The pain in her voice cut right through me. Here was a hard-working mother trying to give her daughter opportunities she never had. What was $400 to me? I'd spent more than that on single dinners with clients back home. Let me help, I said before I could think twice. The joy in Siri's eyes when I handed her the money made my heart soar. She hugged me, the first time she'd ever touched me outside of massages, and I felt something inside me melt completely. Buddha. Bless you many lifetimes, she whispered, tears in her eyes. You have heart too big for your own good. That hug, those tears, that gratitude. It felt more real than anything I'd experienced with Sarah in years. But real and true aren't always the same thing. And sometimes the most convincing performances are the ones where the actor almost believes their own lines. After helping with Nina's school uniform, something shifted between Siri and me. She seemed more open, more trusting. Our conversations grew deeper, more personal. You know what I love about you, Michael? She said one afternoon as we sat watching the sunset, paint Kata Beach gold and pink. You see me as person, not just Thai girl. Most Farang, they look at us like we're all same, just here for their pleasure. She leaned against my shoulder, and I felt like the luckiest man alive. Here was a woman who valued me for my character, not my bank account. Someone who saw past my tourist status to the man underneath. The requests came more often after that, but always with good reasons. Her motorcycle broke down, needed repairs to get to work. Her mother got sick, needed medicine the village couldn't provide. Each time Siri would resist at first, saying she couldn't accept such generosity. I pay back someday, she always promised. When Nina older, when I have school, I pay everything back with interest. Each time I insisted it wasn't necessary. What good were my savings if I couldn't help someone I cared about build a better life? But late at night, alone in my hotel room with the air conditioner humming, doubts would creep in. Why did Siri's stories about her family never quite match up? Why did she get nervous when I suggested visiting her hometown to meet Nina? I pushed these thoughts away, telling myself I was being paranoid, damaged from my divorce. Sarah's betrayal had made me suspicious of everyone. One evening, Siri invited me to a special ceremony at her temple. Very important day, she said, her eyes bright with excitement. Monks say prayer for good fortune come to pure hearts. You come with me, yes? I agreed, not knowing this temple visit would crack open the perfect world she'd built around me, because sometimes the truth hides in plain sight, waiting for us to be ready to see it. And sometimes we discover that the person we trust most has been the one lying to us all along. The ceremony was scheduled for sunrise the next day. As I fell asleep that night, I felt grateful for finding someone like Siri in my darkest hour. I had no idea that sunrise would bring the beginning of the end of everything I thought I knew. The temple ceremony never happened. I arrived at the meeting spot before dawn, excited to share this important moment with Siri, but she wasn't there. An hour passed, then another. Finally, I walked to Healing Hands Spa, worried something might be wrong. Through the window, I saw Siri talking intensely with a middle-aged Western man. They sat close together, looking at papers spread across the small table. As I watched, she touched his arm the same gentle way she touched mine, offered him the same sweet smile I thought was just for me. My stomach dropped, but I told myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe he was another customer. Maybe she was being polite. Then the man handed her an envelope, just like I had done so many times. I ducked into a coffee shop across the street, my heart pounding. From there, I had a clear view of the spa entrance. Over the next 3 hours, I watched my world fall apart piece by piece. 4 more Western men visited Siri. Each interaction looked identical: the gentle touches, the soft laughter, the careful attention. Each man left looking happier, lighter. Each man handed her money. When the last customer left, I crossed the street on unsteady legs. Siri looked up as I entered, her usual bright smile flickering when she saw my expression. Michael, you very early today. I thought we meet at temple. I went to the temple, I said quietly. You weren't there. Her face changed, not quickly, but like watching a mask slip slowly away. She sat down heavily in her chair. You not understand Thai culture, she tried, but her voice shook. Thai people help many people. Is normal way. Stop. The word came. Out tired, defeated. Just stop. The silence between us felt like a wall. Outside, Phuket life continued. Tuk-tuks honking, vendors calling out, tourists laughing as they headed to the beach. But inside this small spa, time seemed frozen. How many, I asked. How many other men are you running this same story with? Siri looked at her hands. When she spoke, her voice was different, harder. The broken English was gone. You want the truth? 6. 6 men think they're helping poor Thai single mother build better life. 6 men think they're special. The words hit me like physical blows. The daughter? Nina? No daughter. No mother needing medicine. No broken motorcycle. Siri's English was perfect now. The village accent completely vanished. You Farang are all the same. Want to believe pretty lie more than ugly truth. I thought about all the money I'd given her. The photos of Nina she'd showed me. The stories about her family. The dreams we'd shared about her future. The temple visits, the prayers. She stood up, straightening her uniform. I work with people who help make everything look real. Temple visits, family photos, even fake documents if needed. You're not the first man to fall for the poor girl story. Won't be the last. Outside, thunder rolled across Phuket's sky. The rainy season was coming, bringing storms that would wash the island clean. But some things I knew no rain could ever wash away. Why tell me the truth now, I asked. You could have kept lying. For the first time since her mask slipped, Siri looked genuinely sad. Too many men now. Getting hard to keep stories straight. Better you know now before you give more money. She paused at the door. Some girls, they take everything first, leave men with nothing. Me, I still have some conscience left. As I walked out of the spa for the last time, I heard her call after me. Everyone wears masks, Michael. Mine just pays better. I sat in my hotel room as evening fell over Phuket. The island's famous sunset painted the sky in brilliant oranges and purples. But all I could see were the numbers on my laptop screen. Bank statements that showed how much of a fool I'd been. $37,000. That's what my friendship with Siri had cost me over 3 months. Enough to buy a nice car back home. Enough for a down payment on a condo. Gone. But the money wasn't even the worst part. The real pain came from understanding how perfectly she'd played me. Every conversation, every smile, every tear, all carefully calculated to hit exactly what I needed most. My phone buzzed. A message from Siri. I know you're angry, but I did care about you, Michael, more than the others. I stared at those words for a long time. Even now, part of me wanted to believe them. Part of me wanted to think I was special, different from her other marks. That's when I understood her real genius. She didn't just sell me a fake relationship. She sold me a version of myself I wanted to be. The hero, the savior. The man who could see her true heart when others couldn't. I turned off my phone without responding. That night I walked down to Kata Beach where Siri and I had shared so many conversations. The sand was cool under my feet, the waves gentle under the full moon. A young couple sat nearby sharing coconut ice cream, laughing at some private joke. Real love, I thought. Not the carefully scripted kind Siri had sold me. An old memory surfaced, my grandfather's voice from long ago. Miguel, loneliness makes us see what we want to see, not what's really there. He'd been right. I'd been so hungry for connection, for meaning, for someone to need me that I'd ignored every red flag. The inconsistent stories, the mysterious phone calls, the way she never let me meet her family. I'd painted each warning sign with the colors of cultural difference instead of seeing the truth right in front of me. But sitting there on that moonlit beach, I realized something important. Siri's greatest trick hadn't been the lies about her daughter or the fake temple visits. Her real skill was in seeing exactly what I needed. Not love exactly, but the feeling of being important to someone. Of having purpose. She'd sold me the chance to be someone's hero, and I'd bought it completely. A text from my buddy Jake back in Phoenix. "How's paradise, brother? Found yourself a Thai girlfriend yet?" I looked at that message for a long time, before typing back, "Learning some expensive lessons about paradise. Will call you when I get home because that's what I'd decided. Tomorrow I would book my flight back to Phoenix, not as a victim running away with his tail between his legs, but as a student of life's harder lessons. There would be other series in the world. Other perfectly crafted lies wrapped in sweet smiles and gentle touches. But now I had something better than suspicion. I had understanding. The waves rolled in and out, washing the sand clean with each cycle. Somewhere in Phuket, Siri was probably already working on her next target. Another lonely man would sit in her spa, drink her carefully prepared tea, believe her carefully rehearsed stories. Part of me wanted to warn them all. But I knew they wouldn't listen, just like I wouldn't have listened 3 months ago. Some lessons, I realized, we have to learn for ourselves. And sometimes the most expensive education isn't paid for with money, but with pieces of our hearts. As midnight approached over the Andaman Sea, I made a promise to myself. I would begin again, not as a man running from his problems, but as someone who'd learned to see past pretty lies to harder truths. After all, wisdom, like the sunrise, that would come to Phuket in a few hours, often appears only after the darkest night. My last morning in Phuket came with the same beautiful sunrise I'd fallen in love with 3 months earlier, but now I saw it differently. The golden light revealed not just beauty, but shadows. The perfect postcard paradise had corners where darker truths lived. At a small cafe near my hotel, I met an older Australian man named Dave. He'd been living in Phuket for 8 years, and something in his weathered face suggested he'd learned similar lessons. "You've got that look," he said, settling down with his coffee after I'd nodded him over to share my table. "What look?" "The look of someone who just discovered paradise ain't free." Dave stirred his coffee slowly. "Let me guess. Fell for a local girl who needed help with her family." I found myself telling Dave everything. He listened without judgment, occasionally nodding in recognition. "The thing is, mate," Dave said when I finished, "what you experienced wasn't really Thai culture. It was just human nature wearing a Thai mask. These girls, they're not evil. They're survivors in a system that doesn't give them many choices." A street vendor walked past selling jasmine garlands for temple offerings. Real flowers, I thought, not like the fake stories I'd been sold. "How do you tell the difference?" I asked. "Between genuine kindness and manipulation?" Dave smiled slightly. "Real kindness doesn't need to prove itself. It just is. Like that vendor. She's not trying to convince you her flowers are magical. They're just flowers." We watched Phuket wake up around us. Office workers on motorbikes, monks collecting alms, shopkeepers opening their stalls. Life continuing in its real, unscripted way. "You know what saved me?" Dave said. "Meeting other blokes who'd been through the same thing. We've got a group that meets monthly, not just guys who got scammed, anyone trying to understand this place better. The real Thailand, not the tourist version." I thought about Siri's perfectly constructed world. The fake daughter, the fake temple visits, the fake dreams of opening a school. But here was something real. 2 strangers sharing coffee and truth in the morning light. "The funny thing is," I said slowly, "I'm almost grateful now. I learned more about myself in 3 months of lies than in years of living comfortably with half-truths." Dave nodded. "That's the real Thailand right there, teaching you things you didn't know you needed to learn." A young Thai woman walked past our table, head down, counting coins carefully. Without looking up, she dropped a few coins into a street musician's guitar case. No ceremony, no audience to impress. Just simple kindness. "Your story's not unique, Mike," Dave said, finishing his coffee. "But what you learn from it can be. Some guys get bitter, swear off Thailand forever. Others learn to see deeper, past the surface stuff. Your choice which way you go." "The group meets first Friday of every month," Dave told me, writing down an address. "Come back sometime if you want. If not, that's okay too, but remember, understanding why you fell for the lie is more important than the lie itself." As Dave walked away, I felt something shift inside me. The pain was still there, but it felt different now. Less like a wound, more like a scar that would remind me of lessons learned. I pulled out my phone and looked at Siri's contact information one last time. With steady fingers, I deleted our entire conversation history, then blocked her number. Sometimes healing starts not with forgetting the past, but with making space for a different future. The plane lifted off from Phuket International Airport, and I watched the island shrink below me. From 30,000 feet, it looked like paradise. Again, emerald mountains, azure waters, beaches that curved like smiles along the coastline. But I knew better now. Paradise wasn't a place you could fly to. It was something you had to build inside yourself, one hard lesson at a time. The businessman sitting next to me struck up a conversation as we flew over the Andaman Sea. He was heading to Thailand for the first time, excited about the cheap living and friendly women he'd heard about. I almost said something, almost warned him about the traps waiting in paradise. But then I remembered Dave's words, some lessons we have to learn for ourselves. Instead, I just wished him luck and turned back to the window. 12 hours later, I was back in Phoenix. The desert heat felt different from Thailand's humidity, drier but somehow cleaner. My house looked smaller than I remembered, but it was honestly mine. No lies, no performance, just home. Jake picked me up at the airport, full of questions about my adventure. I gave him the short version. Met someone, learned some lessons, ready to move forward. He didn't need to know about the money or the heartbreak. Not yet. That first night back, I sat in my backyard, looking up at the Arizona stars. Different. Constellations than the ones I'd watched from Keita Beach, but somehow more familiar, more real. My phone buzzed. An international number I didn't recognize. "Michael, please don't ignore me. I know you think I'm a terrible person, but what we had was real for me too. I never felt connection like that with other customers. Please give me a chance to explain." I stared at that message for a long time. Even now, even knowing everything I knew, part of me wanted to respond. Wanted to believe that maybe, in all those lies, there had been some small truth. That's when I understood how good she really was. Even after revealing her deception, she was still playing the game. Still offering me the thing I wanted most, the feeling of being special, of being different from all the others. I deleted the message without responding and blocked the number. Then I deleted my entire photo album from Thailand. The pictures of temples, beaches, and carefully staged moments with Siri. All of it went into the digital trash. But I kept one thing, a selfie I'd taken on my first day in Phuket. I was standing alone on Kata Beach, looking uncertain but hopeful. That man had been naive, but he'd also been brave enough to try something new, to risk getting hurt in the hope of finding something real. I could respect that man, even if I couldn't be him anymore. 6 months later, I was sitting in my office in Phoenix when my assistant brought in the morning mail. Mixed in with the usual business correspondence was a handwritten letter from Thailand. My first instinct was to throw it away unopened, but curiosity won. It was signed by someone named Tom, an American who'd gotten my contact information from Dave in Phuket. He'd heard my story through the expat network and wanted to thank me for sharing it. "Your experience probably saved me from making the same mistake," he wrote. "I met a girl who seemed different from all the others. Professional, shy, needed help with her sick mother. All the same signs you described. Thanks to your story, I knew what to look for." He'd enclosed a photo of himself with a Thai woman at what looked like a real wedding ceremony. "Found the real thing eventually," he wrote on the back. "Took time to learn the difference between performance and truth, but it was worth it." I smiled, genuinely happy for him. Maybe my expensive lesson had helped someone else avoid the same trap. That afternoon, I did something I'd been avoiding for months. I opened my laptop and started writing, not for anyone else, but for myself. The whole story, from beginning to end, every detail, every red flag I'd ignored, every moment I'd chosen beautiful lies over uncomfortable truths. Writing it down felt like performing surgery on my own memories, painful but necessary. Each word helped me understand better how I'd been so perfectly played. But more importantly, it helped me understand what I'd really been looking for in Thailand. Not love exactly, but significance, the feeling of being needed, of making a difference in someone's life. Siri had sold me those feelings, packaged them in a story I desperately wanted to believe. The real tragedy wasn't that she'd lied to me. It was that I'd been so hungry for meaning, I'd bought her lies instead of building real purpose in my own life. That realization changed everything. I started volunteering at a literacy center in Phoenix, helping adults learn to read. Real people with real stories, no performance required. The work was harder than playing hero to a damsel in distress, but it was honest. I joined a divorced men's support group, sharing my story and listening to others. Learned I wasn't the only one who'd confused rescue fantasies with love. Slowly, quietly, I started building a life based on truth instead of the stories I wanted to believe. A year after returning from Phuket, I got a call from Dave. He was visiting the States and wanted to meet up. We spent an afternoon sharing coffee and stories, two men who'd learned expensive lessons about paradise. "You know what the real paradise is?" Dave asked as we watched the Phoenix sunset paint the desert mountains purple and gold. "It's not a place you can visit. It's a state of mind where you don't need anyone else to complete your story." He was right. The paradise I'd been looking for in Thailand, that sense of peace, of purpose, of being valued, I'd found it right here at home. Not in someone else's carefully crafted performance, but in my own authentic life. Dave pulled out his phone and showed me a recent photo from the Phuket expat group. 15 men from different countries, all with similar stories, all helping each other navigate the real Thailand beyond the tourist traps. "Siri?" I asked. "Still operating. Different name. Now calls herself Rose, still finding men who need to feel special." He shrugged. "But fewer of them falling for it. Word gets around." I felt something unexpected. Not anger at Siri, but something closer to pity. She was still trapped in her own performance, still playing the same character day after day. A strange way, I was freer than she was. That night I did something I hadn't done since returning from Thailand. I looked up flights to Southeast Asia. Not to Thailand, I wasn't ready for that, but to Vietnam, Cambodia, places where I could travel as a tourist without the baggage of bad memories. Maybe someday I'd go back to Phuket, not to find love or meaning or rescue anyone, but just to see the place with clearer eyes, to appreciate its real beauty without needing it to be perfect. But that day wasn't today. Today I was content building paradise right here in the Arizona desert, one honest relationship at a time. As I write this, sitting in my backyard under those familiar stars, I think about the message I'd want to send to any man considering his own trip to paradise. Not to avoid it, but to go with eyes wide open, to see the difference between performance and authenticity, to understand that the best love stories aren't the ones where you save someone, but where you grow alongside someone who sees and accepts who you really are. Paradise isn't a destination. It's what you build when you stop believing in beautiful lies and start living beautiful truths. And sometimes the most expensive lessons turn out to be the most valuable ones, if we're brave enough to learn from them. Have you ever found yourself believing a beautiful lie because it felt better than an ugly truth? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might help someone else who's walking the same path right now. And remember, sometimes the most painful lessons lead to the most meaningful growth. Hit subscribe, Retired Tales, for more real stories about love, loss, and the wisdom we gain along the way. Your next chapter might be your best one yet.